All right, back on the postgame. So there's a lot of you who signed up over the last couple of days, couple of weeks. So if you've never seen a postgame, we do a lot of different things in the postgame. Sometimes we get to extra stories we didn't cover, get a chance to cover on the show. We're going to do one of those today. Sometimes we're very serious. Sometimes we're very light. We'll get to that a little bit later in this postgame as well. I'm going to show you a picture that's going to make you go, oh, okay, and just like that. And we'll sometimes talk about personal stories, and I think we're going to do a little bit of that as well. So buckle up, brace for impact.
Yes.
Okay, let's get started with the one story we didn't get to.
All right. A video featuring workers at a Southwest Key immigration facility indicates that there was some abuse of children going on. The video was the result of a Freedom of Information request, and it's pretty bad. So Arizona Republic is the organization that asked to see this footage. And what the footage shows is shelter workers essentially dragging migrant children, getting physical and aggressive with them. And I don't want to give too much away. CNN actually covered this and showed some of the video, so I wanted to share that with you. Take a look.
They do show are mid-September incidents that happened to at least 3 migrant children where staffers are seen dragging and pushing migrant kids. As we understand it, Southwest Key did report these incidents in mid-September to local law enforcement as well as federal officials. There was an investigation as well by the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. But after their investigation, they concluded that they would not bring forward criminal charges. That has seemed to have changed, though. Now what we understand is they're going to recommend an alleged child abuse case to the Maricopa County Attorney's Office.
So they did report this to local law enforcement, and I'm going to give you the statement from the local sheriff's office in just a minute. This is actually the Hacienda del Sol facility that was run by Southwest Key, and it no longer operates. They had to shut it down for a different reason. But let me give you some more information on what was found on these surveillance videos. One surveillance video actually shows a male staffer dragging and pulling a boy into a room, then slapping him and pushing him against a wall. The staffer then recoils when it appears the child strikes him. The staffer then leaves the room, and the boy is seen retreating to a corner, then pounding on the window in a door to an adjacent room. That was just one of the incidents. There were as many as 3. And the local law enforcement basically said that there was nothing that they could do, and it seemed like they were okay with what they were seeing. So Sergeant Joaquin Enriquez released a statement saying the investigation determined that while physical force and restraint techniques were used against these minor children, these actions did not rise to the level of criminal charges. In fact, he also said that state law permits the kinds of restraint techniques shown in the videos.
In one of the videos, one of the children, a different child, is being dragged by another staffer. So those staffers finally have been fired. But this is what good journalism gets you. It at least shines a light on these abuses. And the Maricopa County Sheriff's Department that was not going to investigate now at least is investigating. And the staffers that were not going to be fired are now fired. And that's what should happen to you if you are dragging, pushing, and shoving tiny little kids. That is not the proper way to handle kids. And until the Arizona Republic and CNN did these stories, nobody was going to do anything about it. So great job by the Arizona Republic that asked for the Freedom of Information request in the first place and publicized it. And also good work by CNN and their correspondent, Nick Valencia there.
Yes, and as I had mentioned earlier, this particular facility had shut down. It was operated by Southwest Key. The name of the facility was Hacienda del Sol. It didn't shut down because of the treatment of these migrant children. It shut down because they just weren't doing the necessary background checks on the employees. And so the health department got involved and basically told Southwest Key, hey, if you don't get this under control, if you don't do these background checks, we're gonna shut down all of your facilities. At that point, that's when Southwest Key decided, okay, we're just gonna shut down Hacienda del Sol.
Well, man, that is an advertisement for background checks. Because it turns out they should have done the background checks. But the larger point here is, we have talked about immigrants in this culture these days and in this era of politics in a way that has dehumanized them. So it shouldn't be overly surprising that some of the kids have been treated in dehumanizing ways. So look, the politicians all the way up to Donald Trump are not responsible for every wrong action by every employee across the country and how they're treating immigrants, or in this case, immigrant kids. But at the same time, the fish does stink from the head down, and he said, and these guys might have done it anyway, with or without Donald Trump, and they might have their own set of issues. But when he talks about immigrants in a way that indicates that they're animals and that they're not humans, it does have reverberating consequences. And unfortunately, we see this terrible video come out now. Yeah. Okay, so that was the serious part. Now let's go all the way to the other extreme and give you cutie patootie. Okay, so now guys, don't put up the tweet's picture yet. Okay, I'll read the tweet and then we'll show you the picture. Okay, Tarika just emailed in or tweeted in a little while ago. Cenk is a strong name. That's why I gave it to my kitten. He's hashtag too strong. Now let's find out if this little Cenk is in fact too strong. Oh,
kittens are so cute.
No, but they really are. Well, breaking news: kitten's cute. You heard it here first on the Young Turks. That's the kind of groundbreaking journalism that we do here.
So Cenk and his wife were fostering kittens, and you brought them in one day, and man, they were cute. Like everything came to a standstill. Like everyone stopped working. Everyone just wanted to care for the kittens.
Yeah.
And it made all the sense in the world to do that at that point.
So my, that's why they were never brought in again.
They weren't.
No, in fact, Mary adopted Scruffy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Scruffy.
So there's two. Okay, well that's funny because I was just about to go to that. So my daughter named one of them Cutie Pie, and I named the other one Scruffy because he has a bunch of hair around his face and he looks a little scruffy, right? He's got hair coming out of weird places. And I have to confess that I was a little proud of that name.
It's a good name, yeah.
Thank you. And one day Ben busted me on it.
Why?
He's like, you keep saying Scruffy because you think it's like so inventive. Shut up about it already. Okay, I got it. People name kid things Scruffy, okay? It's not that great a name.
No one, look, you give me crap for giving you a hard time, but I would argue no one gives you a harder time than Ben Mankiewicz. Like, Ben clowns on you, like right in front of you all the time.
100% right.
Yeah, like it's kind of my favorite thing about old school. But you got, like, he'll razz you, because look, Cenk, like, I actually relate with you a lot. Like, you get worked up sometimes and you feel things and you want to share your opinion. And honestly, on some things, you're 100% right. So whenever it comes to media analysis, like media critiques, more often than not, you're right. And Ben is a very cautious thinker, right? So he really wants to get all the evidence and all the facts before, and someone needs to prove their case to Ben to the point where it's irrefutable, and then he'll buy it, right? But when it comes to media, you're right. And I know you're right because I actually had a long conversation with someone who's been working in mainstream media his entire career. And when I met him for the first time, he's like, no, it's absolutely true. We lean more to the right because the right wing whines and complains anytime we say anything critical about them. That guy needs to have a conversation with Ben because Ben, for some reason, won't believe that.
Yeah, well, look, it's his, in a sense, journalistic skeptical nature, which is not such a bad thing.
It's a good thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, unfortunately, we live in an age where the other side gives us no quarter, and we're so, it's a funny way of putting it, but oppressed as progressives, that this is not the time to be like, hey, but you need to give me overwhelming proof that you're right about how progressives are attacked, when you appear to be 95% right, but I'm not ready to give you 100% yet. Yeah, but the other guys are 0% right, and they take 100%, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, it's not the right, it's the wrong time to do that kind of balancing, right? And I think that what I do balances things a little bit more accurately in that sense,
Yeah.
on a macro sense. But I wanted to say two other things about that. I'm really glad you brought that up. One is, so why is Ben allowed to do more bus nights with me? Okay, so first of all, anyone is allowed. You can do it. Like, it's not like I'm like, get him off the stage, right? In fact, I would argue that people are allowed to do that here more than anywhere else.
Totally agree.
Okay.
100%.
Okay, and then, but two, you could argue that in a sense, Ben discovered me, right?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't heard the story, the super quick version of it is we were working at a station called Whammy down in Miami, and I tried out for entertainment reporter, and Ben was among the people who said he's actually pretty good. He's pretty funny. And then that didn't work out. There's a gut-wrenching version of the story that is much longer. Okay, and then Ben is the one who said we should hire him to be the head writer because his writing is excellent. And so I wouldn't have gotten that job otherwise, and I don't know, what else would have. And then I wound up doing commentary on air because I was the head writer. And so, I think that gives Ben enough leeway for the rest of his life.
Sure, yes, it does. But
besides which, everybody has leeway. There's no, you know what I'm saying?
No, of course, yeah. But Ben might not like this, but I would argue that while Ben might have initially found you, you actually found him, right? And what I mean by that is, what do people know Ben for the most? For Turner Classic Movies or for TYT stuff?
Well, it depends on who you ask, right?
Right, but I'm talking about numbers, right? Like
raw numbers, probably TYT.
See?
I hear you, but we did it together. And
No, you did, but that's the point. Like, first of all, credit to him for like agreeing to try your crazy experiment.
Yeah, but beyond that, remember at the time, I've barely been on air doing commentary on his show. He was the lead anchor down there. And I asked him to do a talk show with me. And he not only does he say yes, but we didn't get paid in the beginning for years. So he did it for free for years. Every day, come in and do a 3-hour show. That's a hell of a commitment, man. So
he did that for years?
Yes.
Wow.
Well, he did it for 5 years overall. We didn't get paid, I don't know, first 3 years? I don't remember. Okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, we were all starving. And then he wasn't starving and he kept doing it.
That's amazing.
So that's a lot of commitment. Yeah. There's other secret stuff that you don't know about other things that Ben has done around here that's heroic. And I don't use that word lightly. So anyway, bless his heart. But to your point about mainstream media, I actually got interviewed by New York Magazine earlier today.
Oh, okay.
And I'll tell you the whole thing because there's nothing wrong with it at all. In fact, it was great. So it was Olivia Nuzzi who was on with me on Reliable Sources. And remember, she had the surprise look at the points.
Yes.
Well, bless her heart, she's doing a story about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She called me and said, I actually wanted to know more about what you were saying because what you said did surprise me, but it was interesting.
Oh, okay.
Which is a great credit to her.
Definitely.
That she was open-minded and wanted to seek that out. And we had a long conversation. I don't know how the piece is going to turn out, but her questions were very fair and I think that she overall was very responsive to what I was saying about the bias in the mainstream media. And I think at least what she relayed back to me, and I don't think I'm revealing anything here that is wrong. In fact, I'm trying to give her credit, which I think she deserves. She's like, yeah, no, those are really interesting points. She's like when I talked about how the polling indicates that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the progressive position is overwhelmingly popular on almost all the issues, and yet the mainstream media constantly calls it fringe. She's like, that's a really good point, right? And it's not to give me credit. I think she thought of it. I think she noticed that earlier as well, and she's like, that's weird. Yeah, why do they do that?
I give her a lot of credit because it takes humility to do what she did, right? To reach out to you. And it takes intellectual curiosity to want someone to elaborate on an idea or a thought that maybe initially you thought was weird or you didn't agree with. There isn't a lot of that in this industry, so good for her. I love that.
Yeah, well, New York Magazine is arguably great, and so you've seen me give them credit from time to time, And I don't ever remember criticizing them. That's not to say they're perfect. Of course not. No one is. Not even us.
Agree to disagree. No, I'm just kidding.
But they've done some great pieces. And so, all right, anyway, it was encouraging. We'll see how the piece comes out. Look, you talked to reporters for an hour, but they got to do a piece, and it's mainly about, obviously, Ocasio-Cortez. I hope she talks about the media and progressives a little bit in that piece, but there'll be like probably a couple of quotes, and that's all. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's great that she tried to get the whole context.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so, and like, guys, one last thing about that. It's a little encouraging to see us break through and have at least people listen.
Yes.
Right? That are in other parts of the media. And so, and a lot of that, again, is thanks to you guys who are members. You made a lot of that possible. Okay. Last thing, I guess, is let's have fun talking about your New Year's plans. Is that what you want to talk about?
Yeah. So New Year's, for my family, New Year's Eve is a big deal. And I'm not allowed to do anything other than be with family. That's kind of when we celebrate Christmas and New Year at the same time, because Armenian Christmas is like sometime in January, so we split the difference. Anyway, for the longest time I was bitter about that, because as like someone in her early 20s, I wanted to go out and party with friends. Now that I'm older, I'm actually grateful that I spend time with my parents, you know? But this year is gonna be a little different. My brother and sister-in-law are gonna host a New Year's Eve get-together, and I'm excited about it because I get to hang out with my niece all night.
Is she looking more and more like you these days, or no?
I wouldn't say she looks like me. She looks a lot like my brother, and she's super feisty.
Oh, there you go. That's
super feisty.
There's a Casper right there.
Yeah, I really like being an aunt.
Are you gonna leave it at that?
Yeah, because when I spend time with her, I get to enjoy all the upsides of kids, and I love her so much. And I'm sure if I had my own kids, I would love them, you know, even more, whatever. But like when she starts getting grumpy, it's great to like just walk away.
Hashtag walk away.
Yes.
Yeah, and so my daughter is also feisty, and she. I think she looks a lot like her aunt, my sister. She looks like a combination of my wife and my sister. And so I love that. I think it's great.
Yeah.
And she comes in, she wants my phone, and she'll sneak in behind me on the desk. My phone's plugged in next to me next to my keyboard, and I see these tiny little fingers sneaking in, and I call her Sneaky Squirrel. She snuck into the behind the scenes I did about the membership drive, where I talked about who I wanted to win. I try not to show them on camera. She snuck into one of my live videos. I'm still worried about it. You know, I don't know. The world's crazy, but anyway.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I wish the world wasn't crazy, because then I could share more with you guys. And,
I know.
You know.
Actually, I struggle with that too, because I want to share pictures like of my niece and my nieces and nephews, like from Florida as well. And I can't. I feel like it's a security risk. Like I just can't do that to them, you know?
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
All right, my wife loves New Year's Eve, and to the point where if we have not celebrated it correctly, in her opinion, she will yell at us. Okay, including the kids. Okay, she'll be like, "No, we have to do this, this, and this, and it's very important."
That sounds like a lot of fun.
One year, yeah, I know, right? She's militant about New Year's Eve. I think it's the kind of attitude you want for New Year's Eve. So one year, I think, if I remember this correctly, and if I don't, I'll hear about it. She fell asleep before midnight, and I did not wake her up. And she's like, "How dare you?" Okay, what are you, Carol Miller? Okay, she was so mad at me for not waking her up. I'm like, "Baby, I didn't know. I didn't know if I woke you up, you might have been mad, right?"
Yeah, I would definitely be mad if I got woken up. Like.
Yeah, I know. So,
do you have any like hopes, wishes, resolutions for the new year?
Oh, okay, yeah, we can do that tiny bit. First of all, but she's sick this year, so we're gonna stay in. So that's a sad day for us. But anyway, or maybe not. Maybe it'll be cute. In terms of what is it? Not declaration.
Resolutions?
Sorry, resolution. No, I don't. I've only done like 2 in my life. So, like predictions, it has to be warranted. You can't like if every year like, okay, I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to be a better person. And like, okay, no, I'm not trying to discourage you. Bless your heart, okay. But I'm not going to say that I'm going to get ripped, okay?
Bart's getting it ready.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Okay. In year, I think 2014, I did say that I was going to get healthier and in better shape. I think it's the only time I've ever made the resolution to lose weight in any shape or context, and I delivered that.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I remember you were getting sick all the time, and then after you made that resolution, took better care of your health, you didn't get sick as often.
And to this day, I don't get sick as often.
Yeah, that's really good.
So yeah, and I got in much better shape. I lost like probably around 30 pounds that year, but at least like the exercises stayed, and I am healthier. So that's good. So no resolutions like that. Yeah, about 2019, I am weirdly optimistic, like strongly optimistic. And I say weird because right now you could be forgiven for thinking that there are not many signs of optimism, right? But I think there are. And I think that the mainstream media is accidentally going to make a progressive the Democratic primary, the Democratic candidate, by their nonstop, over-the-top attacks on progressives, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, I was going to say et cetera, but barely an et cetera there. And because every time they do it, they light up more people to support Bernie Sanders. I think that there was, and Elizabeth Warren, I think that there was even some reluctance in reality from some progressives because of Senator Sanders' age. So I get that. We're not denying that. But every time he gets attacked, they're like, never mind. I don't care about his age. I'm with Bernie.
Did you notice that New York Times article about Elizabeth Warren luckily also mentioned Biden's age when they talked about?
Yeah, that's why I said it was more balanced.
Yeah, it was
but they
good.
did not talk about Elizabeth Warren's age, which I'm fine with. But let's keep it real. She's actually near Bernie's age as well.
Not really.
I think she's like 4 years younger.
She's in her like late 60s, but
I don't think. Let's look it up. I don't think
Yeah.
so. I think she.
man, she looks good for her age then.
Yeah.
She does not look like she's anywhere near Bernie's age. 69.
69. Okay, so we're both kind of right. So what's Bernie's age? Can you look that up? I think 74 or 75 in that ballpark. So yeah, I mean, 5-year difference. You can say that's a lot. You can say that's a little, right? So 77. Oh, 77. Never mind.
Oh wow, I didn't know he was 77.
Yeah, that's right. That makes sense. He was going to be 78 running for office. Yeah. So Biden's 76.
Yeah.
Okay. 77, 76, 69.
69 is, come on, 69 is much younger than 77. Like, let's keep
It's
it real.
exactly 8 years younger.
8 years is a long
That's
time.
what Ben would say.
Yeah.
But no, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. So part of that is optimism. Look, in every story, the 4 progressives that are mentioned, the young progressives that are mentioned, are Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley. The 4 Justice Democrats. Those are the 4 new ones that won. And I mean, look, I think Deb Haaland's actually a really good progressive, but they don't mention her. And Sharice Davis is not that good a progressive, but she's a young, theoretically progressive woman who won, but she's not mentioned. No, I think again, accidentally, because Fox News focused on them, right? Now the Justice Democrats are considered the leaders. New York Times in the Elizabeth Warren story mentioned the Justice Democrats, got a quote from them. Like, there's momentum, there's secret momentum that's hard to spot with the naked eye to some degree, but I can see it, and I can see it clearly.
Yep.
And then I think, look, this is more inside baseball, but digital media is on tough times. We talked about it in another post game. I can see some light at the end of that tunnel as well. There'll be a lot of carnage before we get to that light. So I think that at the end of 2019, it is going to be a surprisingly great year. So I hope I'm right. I think we all hope I'm right. And, I've earned up some credibility. I told you 2018 was going to be rough, and it was rough.
Yeah, it was rough.
But I said not just that it was going to, but I didn't say it was just going to be bad. I said it's going to be a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, it was. That's
And it
actually a
was.
better way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we had some great moments. Ocasio-Cortez, Just Democrats, etc. We had some terrible moments, and here we are.
Yeah.
So cross your fingers, guys. If ever you want a prediction to come true, this might be among the top.
Yeah, no, I'm rooting for you. I hope you're right.
All right, everybody have a great, great New Year's Eve and a great New Year. And we love you, and we'll see you next year, which is Wednesday. So tomorrow we have off, and we'll be back on Wednesday.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.